guys, what's going on? It is Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Today we're going to be talking about one of the best rare champions in the game, finishing up kind of the rare champion review series here on the channel. I have a couple more for you guys, but really just want to talk about the champions like Athel, who is viable early game, mid-game, and end-game, because hey, if you've taken the time to invest your time and your resources into upgrading and focusing on your Athel, you done good. You done good because she is, again, viable at the end game, especially against Clan Boss. Today we're going to talk about why. We're also going to go over her masteries. We're going to talk about her skills and the best way to use and equip her, where she's strong and where she's not inside Raid Shadow Legends. So let's start with the skills. What makes Athel so dang good? Why is she good? And we'll start with the A1, and really, her A1 is part of the reason why she's so incredible. Really, I don't know the reason, but she shines in her A1. And you can see books are incredibly valuable on Athel. Athel is a champion that you want to go ahead and be using your rare books on. Just absolutely takes this ability to the next level when you book it 8 times. You know, you have to save up a little bit, but it's worth it because it can really increase the viability of all of her abilities, especially her A1. Her A1 is Strike Down. Attack one enemy 3 times. Has a 75% chance of placing a 25% weaken debuff for 2 turns on the last hit. Now, weaken is a really solid debuff ability, especially on an A1, and you can see you can book that all the way to a 100% chance of getting that weaken every single time on your A1 on Athel. The damage increase is pretty substantial as well. You can book it to extra 20% on her A1. So you get that all the way to level 8 Strike Down, and pair that with Giant Slayer, which we'll talk about in Masteries, and you've got a really, really good, solid attack on her A1 for Athel. Now, her A2, Divine Blades, is an AoE attack, and it's pretty nice. It has an extra 15% chance of inflicting a critical hit, which is nice, especially for me. Not sure if you saw on my stat screen, which we'll review in a second, but my critical rate on her is only 93, so that brings that well over 100% on her AoE attack, and you can book that for a plus 25% damage increase. Not a bad A2, not a bad AoE. And then her A3 is Higher Blessing. You can book that down to a 4-turn and places a 25% increased attack buff on this champion and gains an extra turn. So it's a nice ability to use. It lasts for 2 turns as well. So again, places a 25% increased attack buff on this champion for 2 turns. So pretty much half the time she'll be under that increased attack self buff, which is always nice to have. Now, if her HP are less than 50%, it places a 30% increased defense buff on her as well for 2 turns, which is nice when she's low on HP, and she's not the most robust champion in terms of total HP, so you're going to have a game plan on how to protect her, and her A3 definitely helps. Her aura, of course, is increased ally HP in all battles by 15%, same as all the other starting champions inside the game. So let's go ahead and talk about her artifacts, and then we'll talk about her masteries. So artifacts, very interesting. Here, I went with accuracy gear to make sure I'm landing all those weakens, but in reality, it's just because I had really good accuracy gear that I wasn't using at the moment, and that's kind of how things go in this game, right? Otherwise, you can focus on offense, you can focus on speed, and you can focus on lifesteal. Now, all my other good lifesteal sets were being used right now. I could have probably put her in a bunch of 5 stars, maybe 5-star rare lifesteals, but I feel like she's just overall better right now. I'll show you total stats in a second. But so I went with a little bit of an unorthodox style with the accuracy set, but you can see that all my accuracy artifacts here are focusing mainly on offense, right? Crit damage, crit rate, attack. There's a really nice immunity helmet here. And again, kind of a scattered set. I do have that crit damage set, but let's talk about the bottom row here because that's the most important. No matter what type of overall set you're going for, you really want to make sure you're rocking the crit rate gauntlets on her. I have pretty solid crit rate gauntlets here, crit rate of 50%. You really want to try to get that 5-star crit rate or a 6-star crit rate gauntlets on your Athel, really on most of your attack champions. Her chest is going to be attack based. I didn't have a good attack percentage, so I went with this 6-star Frost attack base rate, which is still pretty solid here. Also gets some nice speed, and her crit rate again increased. And then her boots, I chose to go speed. Now, if you don't care about arena at all, right? If you just want to focus on dungeons, you can probably go attack on your boots. I do care about arena. It's not a huge priority for me, but I think that speed also helps against clan boss in the other dungeons. But if you're just a campaign farmer, you're just starting out, I would go attack on her boots. But you can see these are really nice boots here. Speed at 40. Speed boots are just incredible for most of the champions inside this game. So speed boots, make sure you're keeping them no matter the set. And then for her, we have the ring, we have attack. Crit damage is important to go on your amulet, and on the banner, I went attack again. So that's kind of how I have her set up. You can see her total stats right now are not bad, but again, her HP, 24,361, a little low considering she is maxed out and I am at endgame here. Her attack is a bit, maybe, it's good, but maybe a little bit high considering I could probably find a better. I'm considering maybe going with an HP percentage on her chest to give her a little bit more sustainability, considering I don't have her in the lifesteal artifacts. And that's something I should kind of mention again to you guys. Having her in lifesteal is really strong. Similar to Kale, if you put her in a lifesteal set, she'll be healing herself, and you don't have to worry about building a support team around her as important as it is right now to me. For example, when I use my Athel with this HP and this defense, in the end game, I need to pair her with at least one support, probably two like heal / supports, and I usually need a shield on her as well because, and that's why I'm going to talk about masteries in a second. I built her a specific way because I don't have a lifesteal set on her right now, and it will change depending on your strategy in terms of the lifesteal versus how you build her masteries, at least in my opinion. So here we go. The rest of her speed is really high at 188. Her crit rate is okay at 92, and her crit damage is okay at 153. Accuracy is pretty high at 96 for her, and let's go ahead and take a look, like I said, about her masteries here. So masteries on Athel. I went defense. Well, let's talk about offense first. We're going to end with Giant Slayer, right? Giant Slayer, really solid. It procs on her A1, and she's getting 3 hits anyway. It's really good against Clan Boss because you can see the damage is based on the target champion's max HP or 3% of the target max HP when attacking bosses. That's why she's really good against Fire Knight and Clan Boss and Dragon. So those are areas that you can really lean, especially mid and end game on Athel. Again, Fire Knight, the Dragon, and Clan Boss when you get Giant Slayer. If you're just using her for arena, you don't really need to go Giant Slayer. You can probably go Flawless Execution for that extra crit damage, but it's really, again, your choice. She really does well with Giant Slayer, though. So Giant Slayer is pretty much the go-to, the standard go-to in terms of where you're going to be ending on the offensive tree. You know, offense is just incredibly important for her, making sure you get her crit rate and her crit damage in terms of starting points on the attack tree, just paramount. Want that extra 10% and that extra 5% to start out. Now, I went defense. A lot of people build their Athel on support, but she's pretty squishy, honestly, unless you're building her specifically with lifesteal and, you know, you add a little bit of HP. So I prefer defense tree instead of the support. It's going to suffer a little bit on your accuracy, but I really like having that extra resistance, the extra bloodthirst. Having her heals a champion by 10% when she kills. The delayed death reduces the damage she receives from a specific enemy by 0.75% for each hit taken from that enemy, and it stacks up to 6% for each enemy. Good against bosses, you know? And then, of course, I ended with Retribution. Has a 50% chance to counterattack when this champion loses 25% of their max HP for more than a single enemy skill. So again, guys, I mean, I built her specifically with a little bit more, you know, in terms of, I don't know, resilience, I guess. Not the stat, but just overall, right? Because I do feel like she's a little weak, and unless you have that lifesteal, unless you know you're going to be able to support her, I suggest going defense. Now, if you want to go support, I would end at Master Hexer. so you can make sure you're extending her. I would just probably just go one, go one all the way down, and then you can extend her her weaken ability on her A1 with Master Hexer. So that's where I would end off, and I would go with the Lure of Steel to increase her. I would just go down the right side basically here, and then I would go probably with. Well, I have to think about the rest, but yeah, I would focus on the right, and I would end with, not Sniper, end with Master Hexer, and end with Lure of Steel if you want to go support. But again, I like defense on Athel. I actually do. All right, so let's go ahead and check her out real quick. Design is pretty solid, I like her. She looks way tankier than she is, at least in my opinion. But yeah, let's see how people reviewed her here too. No surprises. Campaign locations 4.8, arena offense 4.7, Dragon's Lair, Spider's Den. Spider's Den, she does have that AoE, but she's not like a S tier Spider's Den by any stretch. But pairing the AoE with her A1 when you have her masteries up is pretty solid. Giant Slayer. Clan Boss 4.5, not bad when you have Giant Slayer on her. Fire Knight's Castle, again, pretty solid. So let's go ahead and take her into the, let's take her, I don't know, into... Well, she's really good in campaign. She's not going to be solo farming in Nightmare. So I will go ahead and solo her maybe in Brutal. And let's just go all the way down to... let's just go stage 6. And see how she does. I'll put her all by herself and see if she can go ahead and solo this, and you can take a look at how she does inside the actual campaign. You can see her AoE is pretty solid. Obviously, now she's self-buffing on her A. Look at that, just like absolutely going through this. This is her A1. Finally, we get to see it. Sorry, my resolution was okay, there we go. But finally, we get to the third stage. You can see absolutely just tears it up there. And there's Athel, guys. That is my Athel guide. This is going to conclude things here. She's a pretty good solo campaign farmer. She's good for gold farming. And you can see how fast she just plowed through that. Athel is a really solid champion. Congratulations if you've unlocked her. I hope this video and this guide helped you out. If you want to see more guides, go ahead and check out my channel. I have a playlist with all champion guides here in Raid Shadow Legends. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, take care, guys.